Hello Stampers, my name is Linda Bedinger and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And today I have a Christmas card project for you. I have a sneak peek at the new Stampin' Up! Trimmer, which demonstrators have been able to order now, and I just received mine. And then we have a new product. It's called the Christmas Rose. And it is a stamp set, a two-box stamp set, and it also comes with some beautiful gold ribbons, some gold enamel dots, and some gorgeous paper. So I'll be sharing all of that with you. And my Christmas card is a fun one, so let's just get started. Okay, so here is my Christmas card. And it is using the Christmas tree stamp, using the nested label dies, and the hammered metal embossing folder, and some of the plaid. In fact, I think I'm going to call this plaid Christmas trees Christmas card. And it's done on shaded spruce. So let me show you the pieces that you need to do this card. I'm using a base of shaded spruce that is 8.5 by 5.5, scored and folded at 4 1/4. Then I have a piece that is 4 by 5 1/4, and I've already run mine through the embossing folder. Isn't that pretty? And so you get this beautiful hammered metal look, and that's going to go on the front of our card. Then I'm using some of the red and green Christmas paper out of the Wrapped in Plaid, and it's from the suite called Perfectly Plaid Christmas. And there's the stamp set, the tree punch, which is the little Christmas tree punch here. There's a lot you can do with this entire suite, but I fell in love with the idea of this paper being an accent here. So what I've done is, this comes in 6 by 6 paper. So this is the piece of paper, and what I did was I needed this piece to be 4 inches by 2 inches. So I just took this strip of plaid and I cut a 2-inch strip off of it. And then I cut that down to 4 inches. And out of the piece that's left here, I cut off a little 1/2-inch strip so I could have my strip for the inside. And then I used the piece that I had left here to go back and forth and punch out my Christmas trees. And you can see that there's actually a bit left over. So if you wanted to add another Christmas tree, or you were making multiples of this, you can get several cards out of a couple of pieces of paper. But that's what I used. So I have my piece here that is 2 inches by 4 inches, and then I have another piece that is 4 inches by 1/2 inch for the inside, and then I have cut my trees out of the paper there that you saw, and they're here, and I should have 4 of them. We need 3 to make this little, and I'm going to show you on the side here. I put dimensionals under that so that when we pinch this open, even when you go to mail it, you'll have to put something over the top so that it doesn't upset the post office. But the dimensionals will keep this pretty wide open, even when you when they open the card. The dimensionals on the inside will keep this tree raised and keep the 3-dimensional nature of it. And let's see, the other thing I used was some of that tinsel ribbon that came from the Most Wonderful Time. Here it is, and it gets itself all easily turned into curlicues here. And so I just tied a little bow here at the bottom and put a glue dot on it. So, and then we need a scrap of white that I cut my nested die out of. And this one is the second largest of the nested dies. And then we have Merry Christmas stamped on the outside here, and we have the tree and the strip on the inside here. So that's what we have to make this card. We are using the Merry Christmas from the Perfectly Plaid stamp set, and I'm doing that in cherry cobbler ink. So let's just get started. This is really a pretty simple little card. We have our base here, and we have our hammered metal piece, and this is ready to go on the front of our card. And I think I'm going to use a little bit of Tombow glue on this one, just because it's got a pretty heavily embossed backside here, and I want to make sure that I get plenty of glue on that so this piece sticks down pretty thoroughly. So there we go, and make sure I've got that on the right side. And I'm just going to grab this and hover this over the top here until I'm happy, and then the Tombow should allow me to move that around a little to get it on there nice and straight with a similar border all the way around. And there we go. I think that's pretty good. All right, so once that's in place, then I raised this piece up on dimensionals. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And because this is designer series paper, it's not as sturdy as cardstock. So I'm going to put an extra couple of dimensionals on this so it stays put. And there we go. This can go right on the card. So this one's got quite a bit of dimension on it, if you think about it, because I've raised this on dimensionals, and then there's little mini dimensionals on the tree. So this one might be a better one that's handed to somebody rather than sent through the mail. Although I think if you put a piece of cardstock over the top of it, it'll go right through. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to just kind of lay this down until I'm sure it's on here straight. There we go. All right. Now, this will be a chance to show you the new trimmer, because I need to score these trees. Here is our new trimmer. It's actually by size, just about the same size as the old trimmer. This is the old trimmer, and if I lay that on top, the old one was actually a little wider because of these pieces here. And like the trimmer that we have now, it has the two blades, a cutting blade and a scoring blade. And it has markings on this side of the ruler here, and it's got a place to hold your paper in place. And let me turn it this way so you can see the whole thing. And it's got inches and centimeters. This is nice. Inches and centimeters at the top and bottom like the old one did, but it also has them in the middle, which is very nice. And then our extension arm here, which flips up just like the other one did and creates the edge that we need there. And other than that, it looks to be basically the same. So I see there's just a little edge that gets pushed into place there, and that's nice and secure. So what I'm going to do with this is put my Christmas tree in the cutting channel here, and I'm going to let it rest on this little, let's see, you can't see that, can you? I'm going to let it rest right here on this edge and center that tree right across there. Move my cutting blade out of the way, hold my tree down, and see if we can get it to score the tree. It did. And then I'm just going to fold that tree up a bit, and I'm going to score 3 of my trees for the front of the card. This is kind of nice to catch that and hold it in place. All right. And so, and it's not too much to score the designer series paper. That's very nice. Okay, I probably should be doing that the other way because it should be scored folded up on the side that's being scored. So I'll put this one in the other way and we'll do it that way. And then I have the new Christmas rose stamp set to share with you too, which is really fun. So this one getting folded like this. Tree isn't exactly symmetrical, so I think it helps to put the score line in place. Anyway, that is a first look at our trimmer, and it does not have the piece on the inside. If you're familiar with the old trimmer, it had this piece in the middle that came out and that required cleaning, and so it had to have a locking mechanism so you didn't lose it and that kind of thing. And I noticed just now this one doesn't have a piece in there. You'd probably get in there to clean it the same way with the tip of your take your pick tool and some like a baby wipe or something to get in there and clean it. But you know, so far so good. So I'm going to set that aside, and we'll get back to putting our trees together here. And so what I did was I put the first one down. Well, let's get our stamping done. I guess we need to get our stamping done first so we know where to put our tree. My cherry cobbler ink and my Merry Christmas. And that's photopolymer, so I need my Pierce mat here. So I'm going to set that into place and put my Merry Christmas here along the bottom. And I'm trying to get it just right here, just above the turn in the stitches here. So I'm going to set that just right above that place where it turns, and that would help you keep your stamping straight. And there we go. Lovely image. All right. And unless you want to put a sentiment on the inside, that is all the stamping there is to this one. So the next thing we're going to do is decide where on here our tree would look the best. And I'm going to use, again, some liquid glue because we have a very little area that this tree, well, actually, I'm going to go ahead and put it down more flat. But I'm just going to put the glue on the edges so that edge can pick up a little bit. Let me put a little bit on this stem here as well, or the bottom of the tree. And there we go. It's very easy to line up because I'm lining it up with the point of the top of this label here, making sure I've got that on there straight, and that's pretty good. And I can still pick up these edges once that dries a little bit to give that a little bit of dimension. So next, I have tucked a mini dimensional way in here next to the spine of the tree at the bottom. And that is right near the score line. Let me see if I put one at the top. No, I did not. Okay, so what we're going to do is put a little bit of Tombow along the spine of the tree here at the top, and I'm not going to put it below. Well, actually I am, now that I think about it, because I'm going to put that into place and then let it rest on those dimensionals. Now I'm going to remove the dimensionals on my tree here, and I'm going to set this tree into place here right over the top of my first tree, and hold that spine into place so it sticks down, and go ahead and let that bottom piece rest on those dimensionals. And there we go. So it has more dimension at the bottom than it does at the top. Then we're going to take 2 more dimensionals and tuck them in just a little bit higher up on this next one. But again, right along the score line here on the tree. There we go. All right. And again, I'm going to take off the dimensional backs. I don't know if I gave myself enough room there. We'll see for sure here in a minute. And I'm going to, again, put some glue down the spine of our tree here and put that into place in and right over the top of that second tree, and flatten those edges out. Now I'm going to hold this in place towards the top here to give it the dimension that I want it to have. And I'm going to just hold that in place for a second. And then we're going to curl these edges up a little bit on both of those trees so we get the dimension that we want on our tree. Isn't that just cute? All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some of the gold pearls. Okay, I've got my gold pearls here and my take a pick tool, and I'm going to put down a little drop of, I've got a fine tip on a little glue bottle here. This is just Tombow glue, but it's in a super fine tip bottle here. And I'm going to just drop a drop of the Tombow in a couple places around here, and I'm going to put my pearls on top of those drops so that they stay put and in place a little bit more securely. So here is the first of the pearls, and I'm going to drop that down here at the bottom of the card, and I'm just going to go ahead and put these pearls in place on those places I've put a little dot of Tombow. And those pearls are adhesive backed, but they don't seem to stay quite as well as I would like them to. So I've added that little drop of Tombow underneath there, and I think it does make a bit of a difference in them sticking down. Let me put I get these little bottles at, I want to say Joann or maybe Hobby Lobby. And they're different places in different stores, but it's just a little plastic bottle, and I think you get 4 of them for a couple, $3, very inexpensive. Anyway, so there we go. So I've got that done. Now to put this on our card, what we want it to do is lay across this band, so we need some dimensionals on the top and the bottom to get this to stick down and be at the same level. Okay, so there is that in place. And then I also put because I was just in the mood for more pearls, a couple more pearls on the top upper part of this card, and as I look at it, I kind of like them. So I'm going to add a few more pearls up there at the top to add the finishing touches to the front of this card. All right, so we have our ribbon also to put on here, and all I did with this is a very springy stuff. So I tied a bow. You can hardly tell it's a bow, just because it springs back on itself so quickly. But I tied a smallish bow out of this ribbon and then pulled my loops very close, and I left the trim on there because I thought it looked kind of fun and festive, and let it kind of curl up. And then I used a glue dot here, just right here on the base of the tree, kind of folded over a couple times on itself to make a little dot there, and then put my bow down right on top of that glue dot. And if the tails seem a bit much, you can certainly trim them down. But I thought it added just a little bit of festiveness to it to have that bow at the bottom. Okay, so we're just about done with this now. We have the inside of our card to do, and we need a piece of white that is 4 by 5 1/4. So here is my layering piece for the inside, and I'm just going to use some snail on that. Somebody wrote to me the other day on another video and said, why don't you just call it adhesive, and why do you call it snail? And it's sort of like the common name for a flower because they're really adhesive and adhesive glue tape runners. But on the Stampin' Up! One, it says snail adhesive, and we've all gotten in the habit, or many of us have gotten in the habit, of just calling it snail. So that's the reason why. Short name for the material, and that's what it's called on the adhesive tape runner, snail adhesive. So I do call it snail. There we go. There's our piece for the inside, and we have a strip to go across the bottom here, and I'm going to put some glue across here and put that into place right down here along the bottom. And then we'll add our final tree here again with a little bit of the snail adhesive. I've had other people write to me before and say, snail, it sounds slimy. Well, that's just what it's called, I guess. So there we go. We'll put my little tree down here, and that is it. That is our project for the day. It is, I think, just a fun little Christmas card. Pretty easy to put together. You can make, I think you get 3 or 4 pieces of paper in this package of the wrapped in plaid paper, and there are a lot of variations of the red and the green with the gold accents. So you could do this in any color combination that you wanted to. There's blues with gold and red too, and so you could do it with put it on a blue base, or you could do this part in blues, or and put the base, leave the base green. I think that would be stunning as well. But I like this color combination. It was cheery and in pretty traditional Christmas colors, And I like both traditional and non-traditional, so this is it. That is my project for the day. And let's see, the last thing I wanted to share with you is this Christmas. This is the ribbon that comes with it, and it is gold shimmer ribbon. So you've seen our blue shimmer ribbon and some of the others, and it's soft and pretty. And what is it? It's about 1/8 of an inch wide, but that would be pretty on the front of this too, or any number of things. This is out of that suite that's available for a limited time. That is the Christmas Rose. Now this is the new, let me open these up so we can see what they look like. These are the gold glitter enamel dots. Gosh, I hope they stick around after this because they're just so much fun. But I'll bring that up so you can see. And so there's a ton of them in here. I don't know what it says. 160 of them in here. And they're in the small, medium, little bit larger, and very large. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 sizes. Quite a few of these glitter enamel dots in the gold. That's kind of fun to have. Then the stamp set that goes with this is called the Christmas Rose. And isn't that beautiful? For those of you that like to color, this single large stamp, and it's a red rubber, so it's quite a large stamp. Mine just came, so I don't have the label on it or anything, but you can see the size of it. That is bigger than the palm of my hand. So that would cover virtually a whole card front. I'll just pull that out of there so we can take a look at it. But that would be your card. That is just gorgeous. And so there's this box that holds this stamp, or this rose, and it has the rose and a bud up here and some little berries, and it's got pine and regular leaves, pine needles. It's got pine cones. It's really pretty, just gorgeous. And for those of you that aren't necessarily interested in coloring, this is most unusual. So this stamp is red rubber, but these stamps, which is the second box of stamps, is the distinctives. So they're photopolymer, so that you can see through them as you go to put your colored image over the top. You can see right where to do it, and you can color it in using your distinctive photopolymer sets. And I don't think we've ever done this before. Put together a photopolymer with a red rubber stamp. And it's got these beautiful sentiments on it. It's got a beautiful Merry Christmas. Wishing you the gifts of the season, peace and joy. May this Christmas fill your heart with warmth and love. And then all of the pieces around this rose, including the little berries, is included in here. And it looks like they're on the box here in the order that they appear around the rose. So like this big cluster here is this big cluster down here. And these might be these up top. I'm not positive. Oh, maybe that's these. I don't know. Anyway, it's quite an unusual set. And if you like coloring, you could color this one in. If you're not crazy about coloring, you can stamp right over the top and put these pieces in. So I think this is going to be great fun to play with. And you know me, I love paper. Well, this is the paper that comes with that suite. And it is gold foiled. So there are these clusters of roses and buds with the leaves around them. And these are all the more traditional leaves. I don't see any pine cones or pine needles, pine boughs on this one. and the white roses are foiled in gold. And then this is the back side. Isn't that pretty? That would make a lovely combination to put a little bit of that to one side. Isn't that just pretty? And it's unusual also because there are 4 sheets of each pattern here. So we've got 4 sheets of this rose pattern, which is wonderful if you want to try and do multiples. And I'm trying to think if it came with 2. No, I think it comes with 1. So there's these 4 sheets. Then there's this pattern. Isn't that pretty? And this pattern, there's 4 sheets of it, and then look what it has on the back. Isn't that fun and festive? So we'll have to look at the colors on this exactly, but there are these 4 sheets with those in the background. So there's 12 sheets in here, but there's 4 of each pattern. And here is that magnificent rose colored in with the pine boughs and the pine cones and the various leaves. And this one has 2 flowers. This one has 4. Oh my gosh, isn't that beautiful? And it's all foiled in gold. And then on the back of this one is this. Isn't that pretty? Pine cones and looks like pine boughs and berries. Really, really pretty paper. So that is what comes in with this. I can hardly wait to get my hands in there and mess around with it. But this was the project for today, and thank you so much for stopping by my YouTube channel today. I do so appreciate it. And if you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I'd love to have you be a demonstrator on my team. It would be lovely to have you join my team. And my drawing for the month is the bundle of your choice out of the holiday catalog. But to get into the drawing for the bundle out of the holiday catalog, all you need to do is put an order on my website, lbedinger.stampinup.net, or you can get to it through my blog, www.inkandingenuity.com. And this is a brand new blog for me. I've had it redone and reorganized. Be happy to have you take a look there, and you can get to my shop from there as well. So again, thanks so much, and we'll see you soon with more cards, more projects, and more tips. Bye.